Hi everyone, today's video is going to be another one in our advice segment where I'm going to be giving advice about a certain situation that was submitted by a viewer around navigating relationships. Hi everyone and welcome back to the Living Well Schizophrenia channel. If you're new here, my name is Lauren and I make videos about what it's like to live with schizoaffective disorder or schizophrenia. So if you'd like to see more videos from us, make sure to subscribe. Also, if you want to help support us in creating these educational videos, make sure to check out the link to our Patreon page. Through Patreon, you also gain access to our private Discord server where we offer peer support through various mediums such as text or voice or video groups. So if any of that interests you, make sure to check out the link to our Patreon page. Also, I just want to give a huge shout out to our current patrons. We could not be doing this without you, so thank you so much. All right, so I'm going to read what was submitted to us for advice. So it says, my husband has been living with schizoaffective disorder for about 6 years. For the first few years, he had trouble coming to terms with his diagnosis, which resulted in issues with adherence to medication and several hospitalizations. In more recent years, he is doing much better with taking his meds, but we still seem to have communication issues when it comes to the subject of his mental health. During the past year, he had a long period of really good health, and it was nice because it seemed like normal, and I didn't feel like I had to bring up the topic of his mental health regularly. However, a few months ago, I started to notice changes in his behavior, and I became concerned that he might be heading towards another psychotic episode. When I tried to talk to him about it, I thought I was being as gentle as I could when I told him what I was noticing and asked if he was still taking his medication. He became defensive and thought I was accusing him of something, and this started a conflict between us. I kept trying to explain what I was noticing, but he kept giving excuses for that behavior and saying that it had nothing to do with his mental health. So I left the subject alone, but within a few weeks, he was experiencing another acute psychotic episode, which ended with police intervention and another hospitalization. I feel defeated because I knew this was coming and I tried to offer my support early, but I still couldn't lessen the impact of the episode. I would appreciate any advice you have for talking to someone who doesn't want to talk about their mental health. So thank you so much to the viewer who submitted that question. It felt like they were kind of describing my own situation in my own life with my partner, Rob. I think when things are starting to slip and you're starting to become unwell again and you're falling into psychosis, your insight kind of goes out the way too. And so when Rob was noticing that I was slipping back into psychosis, he would bring that up with me and he would voice concern in various ways. And I would always be like, no, it's fine. I'm fine. Nothing's wrong. Stop bugging me about this, And it would build up to this agitation with him for asking me if I was okay and for, I felt like butting into my business, which really it's his business too. He lives with me. And that kind of instigated this confrontational dynamic around my mental health and around how I was doing and him checking in and trying to support me, because at the time I didn't understand it as him trying to support me. I understood it as him trying to control me in a way. And so this built up conflict and it became even harder to, effectively communicate about what was going on. And so I totally understand, this description of things where concern evolved into conflict, which devolved into, further deterioration of her partner's mental health and then ended up in needing police intervention and hospitalization. That's pretty much exactly what happened with me about 2 years ago or so. And so what Rob and I have tried to do coming out of that is, try to get on the same page about what our intentions are and what Rob's intentions are within these instances where I am having a harder time with my mental health and he's trying to offer support and check in and, making sure that I understood that he was coming from a good place and coming from a place of wanting to support me. Another thing is just making sure that we agree as to what should be done in these instances when I'm struggling with my mental health, so that when he takes those steps, he can remind me, hey, you agreed on this and this is what you wanted to. And I can kind of be like, oh yeah, okay, he's doing X, Y, Z to support me and we agreed on that. And that's the protocol basically that we're following. Another thing that tends to happen is, when this issue with your mental health devolves into conflict with your partner, because it generally does. This is a lot to ask, but, Rob typically takes this, confrontational dynamic personally, and, his own emotions get wrapped into what's going on, and he gets hurt or upset or angry with me. And that feeds into the devolving conflict and, things just progressively getting worse and mistrust building within the partners when it's supposed to be, a time when the person needs more support. And so that's really hard to navigate. And so if you're not able to separate your own emotions when supporting someone who is entering a crisis period, then it can be helpful to suggest bringing in an outside person who might be better able to keep that distance in terms of being able to adequately support the person who's experiencing crisis. So for us, and again, this is something to agree on beforehand, because when Rob just tried to do this without me agreeing beforehand, it felt like he was ambushing me and trying to expose what I found embarrassing and didn't want people to know to other people in our life by wanting to bring them in or, by wanting extra support. So if you agree on this before things get to a crisis, it can be helpful. But basically just bringing in either a therapist, that can be really helpful. It was really helpful to go to therapy when things are rough with my mental health, to go to therapy with my partner, Rob, as well. It could also just be bringing in a trusted loved one. So we've agreed to bring in my best friend if things are going poorly and communication is being broken down between me and Rob, as just kind of a third party to come in and offer me the support I need without all the entangled emotions that are wrapped up in the conflict that I'm experiencing with my partner in that instance. Another thing to just quickly kind of mention that, Rob tended to take personally when I did was that I tend to withdraw when I am going through more difficult periods with my mental health. And I think that he really took that as me kind of abandoning him and me rejecting his support. That wasn't it at all. I still very much valued and appreciated the support he was giving me. I just was in a place where I needed to recede within myself and withdraw from stressful circumstances outside of myself. And, I couldn't deal with everything that was going on in these more difficult periods. And so I really receded and withdrew from people, including my partner, Rob. And so I think if you are supporting someone with schizophrenia or some sort of illness that is causing them to withdraw, understanding that they are not rejecting your support, there's a good chance that they really value the support you're giving them and appreciate you continuing to give them that support, even though they are withdrawing within themselves, because it's just kind of a coping mechanism that we resort to sometimes. And it's not, a reflection of how we feel about the support that you're giving. All right, so I hope that these insights or responses were somewhat helpful to addressing the situation that was presented today. If you have any other tips for navigating, crisis leading to partner conflict, leading to, further crisis, definitely leave that in the comments below. We would love to hear from you. Also, just a reminder that if you want to see more content from us, make sure to subscribe. And if you want to help support the creation of this content, please check out the link to our Patreon page. Thank you so much again for watching. And as always, wishing you and your loved ones good health. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.